Creating animation. In this lesson, we will learn another technique to create animation that is presented in this presentation, as you can see in the button movement. We can find the buttons coming out of fade, 0% transparency, and like to be rotated and skewed. Also, they come randomly, not in the normal sequence, and this animation is simple to create, and as you can see, it gives a nice effect. Let's apply this in our file. Till now we have the file with the transition and title presenting. Let's start creating the buttons animation. When we come to the timeline, our motion stopped here. Then here is the remaining elements. Let's go to select the buttons. It can be easy to select the buttons as they are named properly from B1 to B7. Also, there is a good way to distinguish items or sprites in the score. It's to give them special color. By clicking one of these color buttons in the score panel, we can give a different color. Here is the 5 or the 7 buttons in our presentation, and we can start creating the animation. All we need is a keyframe in each sprite at the end. So we can select the last frames for all the 7 sprites and Ctrl-Alt-K or insert keyframes to create the keyframes. And the same rule will apply. We will add the motion effect in the first keyframes. So we can select the starting keyframes, and the animation effect is a rotation that we can apply like this. As you can see, it's all rotating around the registration point, the default registration point in the movie center. If you try to view the motion, you can find it coming like this. We can also add for transparency in the start, blend 0%. And we can add skew. When you point the mouse over an edge, you can find the cursor changed. Then you can apply for skewing, as you see. So the effect is now like this, skew and rotate. But the difference in our animation now, that they are coming regularly without random movement. The random movement we can create if we make a shift in the score, in the timeline, to make them different in the start point. In this way, you can find buttons coming randomly. And when you reach the last keyframe, I think you can see only one button displaying. This is because it is the only keyframe presented in the timeline. So what you have to do is to extend by pressing Alt and drag the last keyframe in each sprite. Now you can find it all in the same end, as you see in this keyframe. In the same way also, you can extend the BG layer, background layer, and the title. For the title BG, you remember in the last animation file, we have it extended through the timeline by pressing Alt to create this keyframe. If we try in this step to drag this keyframe to extend to reach the last animation frame, we can find an error occurring through the timeline. The error is we have stretch. The animation is stretched. We can avoid like this stretch when we press Ctrl and drag the last keyframe. The last keyframe is only moving. But in the title, I think you know, we have to add another keyframe by pressing Alt. Let's check our motion. Back again and play the transition, applying, then the title presented, and the buttons also animate.